What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Watch It in Action. I'm BouseFeenux, and today we're going to be taking a look at War. War is a heavy blade that you acquire from fighting the Shadow Stalker, whom you can encounter after you do the second Dream Quest. So, if you haven't done the second Dream Quest, this is just another thing that you're missing out on. The big bummer with this weapon is that it basically requires Broken War to build, which you have to do the second Dream Quest to get. So this is the only weapon in the game that actually has a recursive requirement, so you have to sacrifice one to build the other. It's impossible to own both War and Broken War without buying the Hoonhouse gift pack. So if you're looking to get both of these, you're going to have to throw down some platinum. But if you have to choose between the two, I think it just depends on whether, you know, which weapon you like more. What kind of, do you like big heavy blades or do you like swords? So the easy choice with this weapon is it's actually the highest base damage weapon in the game. So I know I'm a little late in making this video. I know this weapon came out a little while ago, back when Update 18 first came out, but there's been some new event weapons that have come out, and they've really changed how this weapon can be built, in my opinion. So with the Blood Rush and the Body Count mods that came out in the previous event that just occurred, we can actually get red crits with the War now, which is really impressive. We can get red crits, and we can still have combined element on here. So I've put together a build for this. Currently I'm using the weapon on Valkyr, which is going to make it look extremely impressive, but even without Valkyr's Eternal War ability, this weapon is still very formidable. So I put together a build here. I've got two different ones. The one on my website is basically just a standard build without the event mods, and then I've got another build that I haven't put on the website yet, but I wanted to show you guys in this video because I pretty much just put it together before I started recording this. So I got those two builds I want to show you. Let's go ahead and take a look at them real fast. Okay, so this is the Config B. This is the build that's not on the website. I'll go over both of these real quick. Let's start with the Config A real quick. Both of these builds are going to be using Tempo Royale, which is my favorite heavy blade stance. The weapon does come with a D polarity, so you can use Cleaving Whirlwind as well. So if you like the stance mod Cleaving Whirlwind, or you don't have a Tempo Royale, Cleaving Whirlwind will work fine. I just prefer Tempo Royale because it's got that, you know, that damage boost at the end of its combo. So really useful there, and it's a really cool stance mod. It's really fun to use the attacks for that weapon. So Pressure Point is going to be where our main source of damage comes from. It's just 120% melee damage across the board. And then since the War is a crit weapon, we're going to be using Berserker to channel or to trigger that attack speed bonus. So every time we get a crit, we're going to get an attack speed bonus, which is really nice. So logically following that, we're going to need True Steel and Organ Shatter. True Steel is going to boost our critical chance, and Organ Shatter is going to increase our crit damage, which is both really nice. Definitely need that. And then as far as the elementals go here, we're going to be using 3 90% elementals for this build. Now, what you can do, so notice I've got a Y polarity Forma here. That's just to fit this next build on here. You don't need a Forma to actually fit this build. This one goes on without any Forma at all. And then you can throw on a Life Strike. However, if you want to get rid of the Life Strike, if you guys don't like Life Strike, I'm a big Life Strike user in my melee, but if you don't like that, what you can do is you can get rid of the Life Strike and then put a Primed Reach in for that Pressure Point and just swap the places of it. So you put Pressure Point in this spot down here, and then Primed Reach in, you know, your Y polarity. So that build will fit without a Forma. The Primed Reach won't fit, but this one exactly right here will totally fit. And taking a look at the stats of this weapon, we have pretty good critical chances. This is really high critical chance for a melee weapon, is about 32%. Most melee weapons have that. I think the Tekko is the only one that has like the highest crit chance in the game for melee weapons. I could be wrong on that, but I know you guys will correct me if I am. Critical multiplier is really high at 3.8. That's pretty good. Then you got your leap attack, spin attack, wall attack, all that stuff like that. Notice that most of this weapon's physical damage comes in the form of impact, which, given the weapon's appearance, impact damage seems a very odd physical damage choice, because it looks like you know, like a lightsaber almost, like an energy blade, like it would cut through things, and not be blunt. But I guess that was the choice that they made for this one. So most of our damage is going to come in the form of impact. This weapon still has the highest base damage of any melee weapon in the game right now, though. And then we have our elements here. We've got Heat and Corrosive, which is, as those of you that may know that watch my videos a lot, that's always my go-to elemental. I'm always running Heat and Corrosive in my videos. I do run other elements, though. Contrary to popular belief, I do run other elements, just so you guys know. It just depends on what I'm fighting, and usually when I test these out, I want to show you against heavily armored opponents that are really tough. So moving on to the next build here, again, Tempo Royale. The big changes with this one is we're going to be dropping the Life Strike and that other 90% elemental for two different mods here. We're going to be using Blood Rush, which you actually need a Forma, so this build requires one Y polarity to fit. And then we're going to be using body count as well. So how Blood Rush works is it has 165% critical chance, which stacks with combo multipliers. So the more hits you get on an enemy, the higher your critical chance is going to be. And that will allow us to get red crits, which means a red crit is essentially when your crit gets a crit, is the best way to think about it. That's the easiest way that I understand it anyway. And then basically the build is the same. The only thing that's different here is we don't have Life Strike, and we drop that 190% elemental for Blood Rush and body count. And what body count does is it increases our combo duration by 12 seconds, which is super helpful because that allows us to build our combo multiplier up really high. And the combo, like that timer resets every time you get a hit on something. So that's really nice. Definitely want that to take full advantage of Blood Rush. So let me show you both of these builds real quick. I want to show you the Blood Rush build here, and then I'll show you guys the non-Blood Rush build, and I'll show you the difference between them. So I'm going to go ahead and use a Corrupted Heavy Gunner. We're going to use a couple of them, just so you guys can kind of see. This is impact damage, by the way, so it's not effective against these guys, but you're going to see that we're pretty much going to tear right through them if we don't ring them out immediately. Temple Royale has a huge tendency to knock opponents out of the ring, but you see here we're already getting red crits. At 2 times combo multiplier, we're already getting red crits. They're not extremely reliable, but there we go. They're coming up a little bit more. About 5k damage a hit, and against these level 90 Corrupted Gunners, that's a significant amount of damage. So we're taking them out pretty quick. Like I said, they're going to get ringed out a lot, but, you know, you saw we killed that one, so you can see that this is very effective. And the cool thing, too, is the side note, I feel like this red crit build makes Valkyr a lot more viable at higher levels with an Eternal War build, so consider that when you're choosing a weapon for Valkyr. You can also do the same build with pretty much the same build with the Sindo Prime if you guys like Sindo Prime too. So that is the red crit build. Now let me show you the difference here. Let's go ahead and just use the 390% elementals with the Life Strike. I miss having Life Strike on this weapon, especially when I'm running Valkyr with Eternal War, because you don't get that heal. You have to switch over to Hysteria in order to get your heal up. So, I mean, you kind of lose a little bit of utility, but it's not that big of a deal, I guess, if you have health pads and stuff like that. So you notice, like, we're not even getting crits all the time. It's a lot of white damage. I mean, we're still really fast, but that's because we're just using a Berserker build. But you see, like, we've barely done any damage to these guys at all. Like, not nearly as much compared to what we had before. Like, having that other elemental is really nice and everything, but those red crits are going to give you significantly more damage later on, and they're going to allow you to have even more yellow crits, too. So if you're getting red crits, you're going to get a yellow crit every time. Every time you hit something, you're going to get a yellow crit, because you have to have over 100% crit chance to get a red crit. So that's been these two builds, guys. I hope maybe you learned a little bit more and maybe rediscover this weapon, or, you know, you have a new drive to do the second Dream Quest if you haven't already done so. This thing is a total absolute monster. If you haven't gotten this weapon yet, highly recommend it. Even if you have to drop the 600 plat, it's still totally worth it because you get a really cool armor set with it. But again, I'm BouseFeenux, guys. This has been another episode of Watching in Action. If you want to find this build, you can see it on my website, BouseFeenux.com. Please remember that if you do go there, to disable ad block, because that helps me out a ton. But I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.